We remember what we discussed last week about the American Declaration of Independence. Someone asked me a question. So, do you want to have an American system here? And the answer is no. You know why? Because the Jewish system is opposed to the American system. The American system is fine for Noahides, B'nai Noach, right? It's not fine for us. You know why? Because they wrote up a constitution that they hope would work. Hey, it works. Not anything bad in there necessarily. But the problem is we have a constitution already. They talk about Chok Yisod, right? Chakika. So a basic law. We have a constitution. It's the Torah. And we can't start making a new set of rules against the Torah. By the way, guys, it's too cold. You can turn on the heat. There's a heater here and two on the wall. Okay. Maybe I'm getting cold. Okay. I can turn on this one. Yeah, so bring it over here. Our one's heater. Okay. What else? Yeah, they talk about one of the major grievances was the taxation, right? The way the crown parliament was taxing the people without representing them, right? No taxation without representation. That sounds nice, and I can understand why, let's say, a group of people who are trying to form a state together, a republic, would want to have that as such a rule, why that's a principle. But in Judaism, we believe in, like it says in Parshas Hamelech, well, and the Rambam Paskins this way, the king is entitled to take 10% income tax, basically. That's his divine right as a king, right? Even if we do not vote on such a thing, it's the king's right, as said explicitly by the prophet Samuel and as brought in the Talmud, that the king is right to 10%. 10% of what? Of your crops, of your sheep, your output, basically. And it could also tax businesses, right? You can tax business transactions, called a meches. That is the right of a Jewish king. And that is, we don't believe in taxation with representation. There's nothing involved in this. That's his choice because he is the king. Give me below the taxes caps at 10%. So I guess it would be better to have a Jewish king operating according to halacha. If the federal government could take is 10% tax, sure, a lot of people would be much happier than what's going on in America or other countries now. No, a lot more. The government, depending how much money, depending how much money you make, the government takes a lot more taxes. People here pay, much higher than just 10%. If that's all you had to pay was 10% income tax, and that you're done for. Correct. Which is why you can understand. I'm sure people would like the Jewish system better. Also, in the Jewish system for us Jews, the judiciary is the legislature. That's the Sanhedrin, and only composed of well-rounded Torah sages, and cannot become an echo chamber. Those have 71 sages, proper people who, maybe it's a self-selecting group, diverse, that cannot become, unfortunately, whenever you have, let's say, a Haredi group. So it's usually only Haredi rabbis deciding it. That's a problem. They divide themselves among Ashkenazic and Sephardim still today, right? There's a Sephardic Moetzes and an Ashkenazic Moetzes. What's the point? You're not one united community? That's a problem. Okay? The king is appointed by God and not the popular will. That's the most important thing. Asher yivchar Hashem lokecha bo. We don't believe in talking to the people every time we need a king. We're supposed to find the one that God has appointed. Correct? And the other days you say, oh, so we have no Navi, so we don't have a king. The answer is whoever's a natural leader is like a shofet, so he's a stand-in. Or you're supposed to go find a Davidian, because the rule is David was chosen, and as long as the candidate is a kosher, he fits the bill, he has all the qualifications, he's a righteous person. So by putting him in charge, we're fulfilling the commandment. We are not violating anything. Okay? Next, the king and the Sanhedrin are only supposed to deal with national security and law and order, right? That's what they're supposed to do. The king is supposed to sword in the purse, law and order, shofatim v'shotarim. Legislation and bureaucracy beyond that which is necessary is basically to be avoided, right? That's something that we should know about. But the problem is, the Western system regulates things like, for example, marriage, right? The fact that you have a rabbinut in which you have to register your marriage and all that is a Western idea. It's not a Torah idea. No. They should just go back to the way Chazal had it. The rabbis only get involved. Beis Din only gets involved with the marriage if there's some sort of sichsuch, some sort of dispute that's monetary or whatever, and a real question comes up. But it used to be a man wants to get married. He didn't go to Beis Din. He didn't go to the rabbinut. He didn't go to the registrar. What did he do? He got two witnesses for the kiddushin and a minion for the nisuin.